seems we're starting this leg of the journey in a cave instead of from a Pokemon Center. I suppose that's a change of pace, for whatever that's worth. Here's hoping I manage to make it to the next town before the end of the clip. Excuse me for asking, but why? This is the only road forward at the moment, and considering the Pokemon Center just outside of it, I'm pretty sure that plenty of people try this road, even if not everyone succeeds. This already looks like it's going to be a grinding win for Vincent here, though I suppose I might be counting my chickens before they hatch. Lower our defenses as much as you please there, sir. Unless your rock snake knows rock throw, I don't think this is gonna end well for you. I'm pretty sure the paralysis is just insult on top of injury, as if the fact that we're gonna win via a hell of a lot of weak attacks and he can't really strike back wasn't bad enough for him. Have I mentioned that very frequently in Pokemon I feel like a bully, and that it's incredibly difficult to find that middle ground between feeling like a bully that's smacking around people weaker than us, and feeling like we've bitten off more than we can chew. I swear, that kind of feeling makes me wish that the Pokemon series at some point would give you select opponents that altered their levels to match yours. I wouldn't want that to happen for an entire game. That would kind of cancel out one of the reasons to level up in the first place. Still, can you blame me for wanting something like that for special occasions? And Vincent finally takes that win, putting his personal score up to 4. And given the fact that he's leveled up, I don't think he's going to add any more to his score in this clip. Don't feel too bad about that loss. It's not like you were expecting to deal with a ghost down here. Hell, how many trainers with only one badge would even have a ghost type on their team anyway? That would be damn tough to see coming. Well, I wouldn't mind getting to Azalea, though I don't really remember what's there. Hell, I just don't do a good job of remembering town names after Generation 1 in this series. Excuse me for feeling insulted that the second person we face in these caves has level 4 Pokemon when the first threw a level 11 at us. Hell, I'm fairly certain that lone Onix could have soloed Falkner's entire team. He was a solid, if not very challenging roadblock for this stage of the game. And level 8 falls just as easily as level 4. 3 Geodudes, one after the other. Guess Uzumaki is getting a fast level up then. 4, then 8, and then 6. For some reason I was expecting the last one out to be the highest level one, not somewhere in the middle. Anyway, that makes 8 for Uzumaki now. I appreciate the harder-hitting water attack, though part of me would prefer if we had a normal or dark-type attack to go along with it. Good luck with the grinding then, sir. Hopefully it'll be a while before we have to do our next bit of grinding around here. But I think I've more than proven that I have no way to see into the future. If I did, then I certainly wouldn't have struggled so much against a gym leader I have no respect for in the least. somehow getting the feeling sending Venus against this guy would be a bad idea. Yeah, that can be a pain in the ass when it happens to you. And even more annoying is the fact that somehow Supersonic feels less effective when I use it than when some random Pokemon encounter does it. It's probably just my mind playing tricks on me. There's no way the odds chipped out of the player's favor when using that kind of move. This series says it's aimed for kids, and that kind of odd-changing bullshit doesn't happen in kid-friendly stuff, at least in my opinion. But then who am I to say if something's kid-friendly or not? My parents thought that reading Ender's Game to me as a kid was a great idea, since the main character was a kid. It's not like we had Pokemon or Harry Potter back then. God, now I feel a bit old here. Gramash is up to 8 now. I'm pretty sure that Venus could have taken on those two Koffings, but hey, can you blame me for being a bit paranoid? All I saw in the overworld was a sprite that made me think it was a fire breather. And technically, I was right about that. How was I supposed to know that the fire breather did not have any actual fire types on him right now? Anyway, only Flender and Venus are still at level 12 right now. We're kind of running out of options for our next fight. I don't think that guy knows what kind of roars he's hearing. And since I'm not trying to catch them all, it's probably not worth asking a few more questions. Not that we have the option to ask him more questions about that. Ah yes, Sandshrew, one of my favorites from Generation 1, and I'm gonna go out of my way to not have him on my team in this game, since I don't want this to end up becoming a Generation 1 rehash with just a different starter. Even if that's what the encounters we've been seeing feel like they want to have, to some degree or another. I'm pretty sure the Sandshrew I had in Generation 1 was on Blue Team with the Fire Starter, but I could be wrong. It's more than a little confusing that I had two teams at the same time during my Generation 1 playthrough, especially since I was fighting with myself repeatedly. Red team with the Grass Starter had the edge because that was the main team I'd have for the Let's Play as a whole. And while it was fun in the end, I didn't want to do a Gold and Silver run on Generation 2 in order to mirror that previous Let's Play in this franchise. Still, it kind of felt like I could do something with Pokemon Stadium involved, especially since there is no such side game that goes along with the main games after Generation 2. On one hand, it's something that helps differentiate the first two generations from the rest. But on the other hand, it's just another thing that makes Generation 2 feel like it does not stand out compared to the first one. At least not enough. As if the timing for when we finally get to see some of the better Generation 2 newly introduced Pokemon wasn't bad enough. Seriously, who decided that Skarmory and Houndoom had to be in such late-game areas? Every time I have gotten to those areas, I have already made my decisions on what team members to bring all the way to the champion. And it would feel incredibly awkward to change from a championship-winning team in the rather long post-game that Generation 2 has waiting for us. But then it's very much premature to think about that sort of thing when we still haven't gotten to the second gym yet. Oh dear, I'm getting the distinct feeling this Vulpix is gonna get the better of Flender here. Okay, apparently I was a little pessimistic there, but damn, that was close considering the 3-level advantage we have. just that this cave isn't the designated dark cave of the game. Seriously, does anyone even actually like the dark cave gimmick in the Pokemon games? It has to be the single most useless HM move in the overworld in the franchise, and while I'm sure it does quite a number on enemy accuracy during fights, again, I'm not the kind of person who uses stat-affecting moves, much if at all, in any game, much less one where we have a very limited number of moves we can have on our creature at any given time. Understandable, we took a bit of a beating in there as well. Well, hopefully, whatever you're throwing at us is going to be something Venus can handle alone. Venus certainly appreciates that one. Not only is she up to 4 on her personal score, she's up to level 13 now. So our only level 12 Pokemon right now is Splendor, and there's no way he's staying there for long. Unfortunately, he's in no shape to take on the Machop that's about to come our way. Not after that Vulpix in the cave. Still, maybe we'll get lucky here. Right, that is very promising to see at the start of this. Fingers crossed that this string of luck will continue. Just why did I even think that Leech Life would do anything significant for either of those health bars? Still, we're in such desperate need of healing that even just 1 HP at a time is a great improvement. It helps that Pokemon have very low health bars in general. Anyone else find it strange that HP in a Pokemon game never goes to the obscene other Japanese-made role-player games? In a lot of other games, a level 12 character would have hundreds, if not thousands, of health points at this same level. But we aren't even up to 50 health points here. Does that mean that Pokemon are generally weaker than characters in other role-player games? Or do health points register differently for Pokemon than they would for a human in something like Final Fantasy? Well, we got a lot closer with Splendor than I was expecting. Good thing this isn't a Nuzlocke run, or that would be absolutely tragic. And Lurker secures the win with 15 personal victories. It's not a matter of having more zip, it's a matter of having more Pokemon. I'm pretty sure you're supposedly at your best in any rough roads. Anyway, it looks like yet another person I'm gonna have to say no to in this game. Wish there was some kind of warning if someone was gonna ask to be put on your phone in this game. Again, there are very limited spaces in the phone's memory in the second generation, and we don't see any other game other than the Generation 2 remake that uses the phone ever again. It's one of those ideas that looked nice on paper, but once they got it into practice, they apparently didn't like how it panned out, so they gave up on it by the time we got to Generation 3. Honestly, I kinda wish they gave up on the whole in-game clock thing too, anyway attached to it. But it's been such a big part of the series' mechanics for every generation other than the first and third, that at this point I'm sure most of the audience would find it weird if it wasn't in the game somehow. Anyway, we actually made it to the next town in this clip. Let's see what people around here have to say. Right, probably also a good idea to put Flender back in the front line so he's gaining the initial bit of experience again. He's a lot more viable in a fight now that he's got Bite in his repertoire. I don't suppose you could be more specific about that Protector, can you? Is it some mystical beast of legendary power, or is it a high-level version of a regular Pokemon around here? At the very least, it looks like we're gonna have to learn Cut before we can get out this way. Already have one of those, but I suppose Flender could use a bit of grinding right now. Okay, so we've got an item just sitting out in the open here. I guess it wasn't fully a waste of time coming to this section of the forest before we do more investigating of the town we just reached. I have no clue why I decided to go over here right now, though. Again, the grinding is probably doing Flender good, but this road is blocked until we gain the second badge and cut him off. And I'm pretty sure those two things are in the town that's connected to this forest. It's not like there are any alternate routes to other towns as far as I can see. And there, Flender's a 13 with everyone else now. I can't really find it in me to celebrate that growth, though. Partly because I'm a bit of a cynical bastard. I've just seen so many people in Pokemon grow over the years that it's hard for it to really feel special, especially in this kind of format. Seriously, numbers rise up, experience bars fill, and occasionally a sprite changes. It's not like there's any chance of any character development from the Pokemon we're training in the game itself, though I suppose if you use your imagination that can happen. And to be fair, I like to see that sort of thing in fan-made projects involving Pokemon. I'm in no way an artist though, so it's not like I can draw a picture of the player character hanging out with their Pokemon at each leg of the journey. And not only do I not quite trust AI art yet to do something like that for me, I don't have the spare cash to do so for what is essentially a non-money-making hobby for me. Ugh. Even if it is, it's a little too expensive for my wallet, even than the Fantasy World one. Right, so we can't even try to enter the gym without dealing with the town-specific quest here. At least there's less confusion like there was when I was in town with Falkner's Gym and the Bellsprout Tower. Why the hell have I forgotten that town's name already? I'm not really sure that apricorns count as fruit. It's certainly not edible as far as I know, but maybe? Well, I can't cut through the forest just yet. I don't have the move Cut. If he's the charcoal man, why can't he just burn the trees in his path? Because since they keep reforming in a hurry once we pass by, I'd rather just burn a path through the forest, even if that would get some rangers and even Smokey the Bear on my ass. For all I know, Smokey the Bear is the guardian of the forest. I don't remember. Is Urasing a Pokemon in Generation 2? Apparently it is, so there's a missed opportunity from the game designers there. They could have done something special with the Big Bear Pokemon in this game. Oh, that is most definitely not a noble thing about this town in particular. You'd be hard-pressed to find a city or town in this world where Pokemon and people don't live in harmony. Hell, why not call it a sleepy little town, since one of the biggest landmarks here is the Slowpoke Well, which we're gonna have to deal with in the next clip. Oh no, sir, you are as bad a Samaritan as the guy who's blocking us from getting to the Pokemon gym in this town. In fact, you are actively making sure that anyone who wants to move on from this town is gonna have to kick your ass. Anyway, The person in the mark just told us the other big draw to this town, other than the gym and the well. A man who makes custom items to capture Pokemon. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to start doing that work until the local problem in Slowpoke Well has been dealt with. All we need to do is find the trigger to get the next set of events started. Not terribly difficult to figure out, it's a rather small town after all. I just wanted to show off the sheer amount of railroading here. Well, I wouldn't mind it, since people speak highly of your skills there. I'm pretty sure Team Rocket is the only villain team to show up in 2 different generations. And again, Johto has a hard time feeling like its own separate region with the way this game ties Kanto and Johto together and makes it so easy to make direct comparisons that do not reflect well on Johto itself. Am I just too much of a Kanto brat or something? He's been gone for less than a minute! I'm pretty sure I missed something there somehow, because how the hell are you already so lonely? Ah, well, it's not like we're in a hurry at the moment, so let's heal up before we follow Kurt. Then why does Kurt still make them if Pokeballs are more convenient in the modern era? Is he like a modern-day swordsmith and does it because it's cool, than because of how it really functions in comparison to more expensive balls like Great and Ultra? I certainly doubt he can craft anything that can match the Master Ball at any rate, but then to be fair, that's not exactly something in the standard market. I'm sure you will, since this town has a gym and a forest right next to it.